Hi. Um, so hopefully I don't start crying because this is so stupid. I used to never cry and I was never emotional before Plexus. Like Plexus has turned me into a crier. So I don't want to cry tonight, but I am feeling so emotional about this call and I don't even know why.
Check in the morning. Go to bed.
Can y'all hear me?
Okay, we'll check in the morning.
Looks like Jeff is okay. We got him. Andrea, can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay. Anyways, so I was just actually taking notes today about this call tonight. And right before I got on this call, I just was like asking God to just give me the right words to speak tonight. And I turned on a worship song and I am like shook by it. So I want you guys to write this song down. This is your homework after this call tonight. You have to listen to this song. It's called In Jesus' Name, God of Possible by Katie Nicole. I just write it down, just listen to the song and you'll understand why. But anyways, so my name is Michelle. I am a mom to 3 kids. My kids are 21, 18, and 15, which is insane. I've been married for 22 years. And my husband and I have been risk takers, crazy people since we were married. I got married at 17. We went to Brazil when I first got married. Like we moved to Nashville. We've done a lot of crazy things. And but I never, ever saw myself doing anything as far as like network marketing. That was not something that I ever imagined myself doing. I actually worked retail for 10 years, loved working in the corporate world, actually loved having a job. I had got to a position where I could only hire people with degrees, but I did not have a degree. So that's where I was, but my kids were getting older and I know this is about going diamond, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of my background and I have a timer set, so I won't go over. But anyways, but I knew that God was calling me to be at a stay-at-home mom and to be there with my kids. And I didn't know how that was going to work because I was actually making more money than my husband. I was making a 6-figure income. He wasn't making that much. He was a musician and, it was just a tough time in our life, but I knew God was calling me to something. And the best part about knowing and trusting God is that when you step out in faith, he has your back and he is going to provide. And so I like to say that when it comes to things about Plexus, because I believe that God knew what he was doing whenever I stepped out in faith and I quit my job. So I quit this job, corporate job, and I started babysitting kids, I was just at home. I was doing all the things on the side just to make a little bit of money, just to be there. And I got a call one day from the Sonia Dudley, my best friend. I got a call one day from her and she said, Michelle, I'm doing this thing called Plexus. And her exact words to me, the very first time she messaged me was like, if these products do what they say they do, she's like, I'm going to the top of the company. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to drive a Lexus. I mean, her belief was through the roof the second she joined. And I kind of laughed because she had done a lot, some other companies. And she was like, the Mary Kay girl with a Cadillac for years and stuff. And she was just my country bumpkin friend. It made sense for her to do something like this, but not like me. I was an introvert. I'd never posted on social media. I'm not an oversharer. I just, there were so many things about what she was saying that didn't make sense for me. So I told her, I said, you can tell me all the things. I said, but I will never join you. And so I watched her journey for months. And after a few months, she posted on Facebook and tagged me in it, her skeptic friend. I mean, y'all, I almost blocked her. I had wanted nothing to do with network marketing. And so finally I got, she had just called and told me she had quit her job and she had replaced the full-time income with Plexus in a few months. And here I was working as an elf for a weekend at a play to make a few $100s. And I was like, I got home from that gig and I'm like, I'm willing to go be an elf for 3 days like an idiot, but I'm not willing to try Plexus and actually make money from my phone or from the internet. You know, I'm like, how stupid is this? I literally would go be one of those people that handed out flyers, but I wasn't willing to do something uncomfortable, which network marketing and all of this seems so uncomfortable to me. And so anyways, so I finally, I asked my husband, I'm like, do you think I can do this? And he's like, I think you can, but you have to make $50 a month. So that was our belief going into it. So I'm just, you know, I'm starting off tonight. There was a long thread in the diamond chat about when did you believe you could be a diamond? When did you believe you're going to the top of the company? Y'all, I did not have that belief when I joined Plexus. I thought I was going to try to make $50 a month. And then, you know, my belief would raise. Sonia would tell me like, you can do this, like go silver. And then I went silver. It was like my belief kept getting bigger every rank that I would do. Every time I'd get more uncomfortable, I would go further. And then it's like, I wanted more and I wanted so much more that I just got so excited about being uncomfortable. I was looking for that next thing to do that was completely out of my comfort zone because everything about Plexus was out of my comfort zone. Being on video is outside of my comfort zone. Speaking is outside my comfort zone. Everything about this, like about everything what you do about Plexus, I have crazy social anxiety. I sweat profusely. I drink too much wine when we're in social settings. Like, I mean, I just get uncomfortable. Like I am uncomfortable in social settings. And it just felt like everything about this was, but there was a fire in me. And it was so strong. It was like I knew that God had given me Plexus for a purpose. Like I knew that I was called to admonish people and to raise people up. I knew that I was called to put belief into people when they didn't have belief. And I knew I was called to spread hope in a way that would help people like me that wanted to be stay-at-home moms or wanted for my husband and I have now been stay-at-home parents. I mean, I thought it'd be great just to be a stay-at-home mom, but to be stay-at-home parents for the last 8.5 years, you guys, like that's mind blowing I mean, we get to be anywhere we want to be, y'all. That's freedom. Time freedom and health freedom is freedom. And that to me, like, has been the absolute biggest blessings. Okay, so I'm almost done, but I just want to share a couple things. Here's what I want to tell you guys. One of my biggest struggles, one of my biggest mindset struggles going to the top of the company is that I always looked at other people and I thought it makes sense for them. Like it makes sense. I would always compare myself. I got to Emerald. I went to my first Emerald trip in Hawaii. And it was like, I idolized everyone. I saw Sarah Marble walking with this like flowy dress. And it was like, she was an angel sent from heaven, you know, and Sonia and Helen, and they were diamonds. And I was an Emerald and a struggling Emerald. I was going backwards. And I looked around at everyone else and I thought like, it makes sense that they're so successful. Like I'm not good enough for that. Like I don't have what it takes. And I remember like, there was defining moments in this business where I felt like God stopped me in my tracks and put something in me. And I remember it being in Hawaii, that first trip, and standing in the shower and actually like feeling like I've never visualized myself as a diamond. I've never visualized myself. And I visualize myself standing there. Imagine what it'd be like to have a diamond documentary. Imagine what it'd be like to celebrate going diamond. And it changed everything for me. It changed my belief. It changed my activity. It changed my words. It changed how I talk to people. And this call is so exciting tonight because Andrea is the first diamond in my downline. I think that's why it's so emotional to me, because I started this year. So it's 9.5 years in, you guys. And it only took me 2.5 years to go diamond. So all these years, I didn't have any diamonds in my downline. It felt very like, I don't want to be a diamond if I'm the only diamond. Like, you don't do this if you can't duplicate this. You know, I didn't feel like I had what it takes to duplicate. And I'm not saying that I'm giving myself any credit for Andrea, but I do know that at the beginning of this year, one of my new affirmations was that I can lead diamonds, I can create diamonds, I can develop diamonds. And my belief and my words have shifted. And I believe that Andrea is about to birth diamonds herself. And listen, here's what I'm going to say. I have like 50,000 words to say tonight, but I cannot. I'm done. But here's what I want to say, that Diamond is not a respecter of persons. Diamond is not a respecter of who you are. Every person has what it takes to get to the top of the company. Going to Diamond is a respecter of those with consistency, with the right mindset, with discipline, and with belief. And I'm going to tell you what, borrow some of my belief, because I have it for you. Like, my belief that you can do this. I was scared of small dogs, y'all. I was scared of everything. I literally was scared of everything. If I am scared and I can do it anyway, y'all can do this. So there we go. Andrew, you're muted.
Okay, I literally could not unmute myself. I'm like, I know how to use Zoom. I promise you guys. That was so good. And yes, all the things that you said, I mean, every time that I would message you, I'm like, Michelle, she just gives these like profound words, and you're like, okay, like I can do it. Like I can do it. And very honest and truthful. And it really just does show you that when you believe, your thoughts control so much of what you do, right? It's like, once you get your thoughts in line, you can literally go conquer anything. And so I don't know. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I never heard the elf part of your story, which I can never like unhear that now. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. So next we have Brianne, and she lives in a small town in PA, married to a dairy farmer, a former math teacher, and now she is a chauffeur to her kids. So, okay, Brianne, wherever you are on here, I don't know where anybody is. I feel like everyone's like jumbled up, but go ahead and unmute yourself and share.
I am here. So I was literally on my way home tonight typing when Andrea asked about like the 2 lines or whatever to do an intro. And I literally feel like that's all I do. Anybody else in the season of life where it's like, I am my kid's chauffeur. That's my title. I'm not anything else. I just chauffeur them from place to place. And my team was just messaging, and they're like, that hat looks so cute on you. I'm like, yes, that pulled it off, because I just came from the ball fields raking to get ready for state tournaments this weekend. I'm like, y'all don't want to see me without a hat right now. Maybe you do, because that's what I'm here for, right? I am here because, just like Michelle just said, any one of you can do this. Any one of you. And the reason that I still get chills talking about this, and I'm going to get emotional too, because the reason that every single one of y'all are here, the reason that I am here, is because somebody shared with me, and now I get to pass that on to somebody else. And it will absolutely change your world. Whether it is $500 a month, because that's what saved us. I will never, ever forget, y'all. I have 3 kids. I had 3 kids in 3 years. Same 3-year time span. My health tanked. I had 4 autoimmune disorders. My oldest daughter has crazy allergies. We had autoimmune, I mean, all the things going on. I ended up walking away from my teaching position because we were terrified to put her in a daycare setting. It just was not going to happen for us because it was life-threatening for her. At that time, I had 2 kids, walked away from my teaching position, walked away from all of our insurance, living on a dairy farming salary. A week later, on Thanksgiving Day, I found out I was pregnant with my son. You think that our world was not rocked? Kids are a blessing, but y'all, I was floored. I'm like, really, God? Like, this is the plan for us. It was the plan for us, because he took every single one of those struggles and turned it into a larger impact than I could ever imagine. I live in a town now, I have stoplights. I moved to a bigger town, small town, but the town that I grew up in, no stoplights. You think that if like network marketing, I knew no one. My social media was used to complain about things. That's how people found me with Plexus, because I always complained about her allergies and what was going on and other people. And you take somebody that has no social media presence, that was me. If you are in a season right now where you are thinking that you can't do this, I want you to stop, and I want you to just think, what if? What if I can do this? And what if the struggles that I'm going through right now, I mean, how many of y'all are going through a struggle right now? The last 3 years of our lives have just floored all of us, right? But here's what I want you to know. the struggles that you have right now could, and I might step on some toes, but it could pale in comparison to the struggle that you're going to come up against next. I had no idea 7 years ago when I joined this, and I thought it was the worst time of our life, when we would get to the end of the month and we had way more month than money, when our health issues were going crazy and I could not imagine feeling better, and I thought that being sick and tired was our life. I had no idea that a few years later, the world would be in a pandemic, and my sweet husband, who has had dairy farming in his life for years, I mean, he's the 7th generation. Milk prices would tank because no one was in school, no one was eating, and they were making the same price as they were in the 60s, y'all. It was bad. And so in those, Wanda, we love you. Can you mute? There we go. In those moments, I would have lost my husband to a 9-to-5. We had to sell every single one of the dairy cows and make that choice, and a hard choice. It was one of the hardest choices that our family has ever gone through. But instead of having my kids lose all that they had known, and we're still on the dairy farm, we still have cows here. It's a huge, huge blessing. But that my husband didn't have to choose. He got to stay home. He didn't have to go work a 9-to-5. Those hard moments were made easier because we have Plexus. And so when I thought that it was hard, like, oh, I don't know if I want to like clue into TikTok or watch a video about growth. And I thought I was making a hard choice then to clue into the growth instead of watching TikTok. Y'all, when those really hard choices came, I am so thankful that I made them. I am so thankful that I took the time when I had people that were negative to me. When I had people that said like, oh my gosh, network marketing, like, great, you can't do anything else with your life. You went to school, you're throwing it all away, and now you're a network marketer. You are dang straight. I am a network marketer. And I started with no belief in this, y'all. But those hard times that are here right now for you, make the choice. Make the choice to stay up 30 minutes later. Make the choice to get up 30 minutes earlier. Make the date with yourself and start growing, because there is literally no one. If Michelle can choose to not be an elf, and my husband doesn't have to go back to work, and I can be the chauffeur for my kids, show up and do the hard things, because every single one of you has a story that is willing to be shared and needs to be shared. The world doesn't need another Andrea, although we would love it because she makes the most amazing graphics and we all live off of all of her stuff, right? The world doesn't need another her. The world, as much as I would scoop Sonia up and just soak her up every day, and Michelle and Alita, the world doesn't need more of us. They need more of you. And so here, real quickly, I'm going to give you 3 tips that I wrote down, and then I'll stop because I could go on forever. Here we go. Show up as you. Maybe your dream isn't to be a stay-at-home mom. Maybe your dream isn't to be the kid's chauffeur. Maybe you love the job that you have right now. Perfect. But dream bigger. What does it look like for you to be able to take a month off and travel? What does it look like for you to be able to buy the cabin for your husband? I'm looking at some sweet people on my team and I know what their dreams are. I want that for them. What's your dream? And show up as the version of you in 5 years that's living out that dream. You deserve it and you can do it. Okay, seasons. Y'all, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have times when you feel like you are on the mountaintop and you're like, I'm doing this thing. Tomorrow I'm going to be a diamond. And then tomorrow comes and oh boy, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if I want to pick up my phone. Here's the thing. You're never going to have seasons and life moments where you are 100% in 100% of the time. But in those moments where you can only be 25% in, do 100% of the work, okay? Don't doubt yourself. Show up, post, follow up with your team. Maybe it's not an hour a day, maybe it's 15 minutes a day, but when you're in those work moments, show up. Last thing, time block. Make a date with yourself and stick to it. You've heard it said 1,000 times before, but I'm going to say it again. If you had a friend that was always canceling on you, you'd stop making appointments, right? Stop canceling on yourself. That's your belief tanker, right? Show up. And if time blocking freaks you out, what I do is I time block in all the fun things first. I don't sit down and time block in like, oh, I've got to do this and message this person. I time block in the things that I want to do, right? I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and go away with my husband for 2 days. I couldn't wait to wake up on Sunday and surprise my kids for 2 days and go on a trip with them. I time block those things in first. But then you know what I knew I had to do today? All the work to get there. Time block in. You're worth it. I want every single one of you as a diamond in this company, if that's your dream. Whatever your version of more is, keep showing up because you're 1,000% worth it. And you have everything that it takes within you. You just have to keep growing through the hard. Okay, I'll stop.
I'm like, go on. Guys, is everyone not grabbing their planner right now, like time blocking in all the fun stuff and then going in with the work? That was amazing. And it's so true. Do not be afraid to dream big and want more. And I think that so often we don't know what that feels like or looks like. We still dream in our comfort zone because we dream with our limiting beliefs. I truly believe that. And we aren't able to actually visualize, like Brian said, buying a cabin, you know, the dream home, whatever it may be, that is what you want, you can do it. Like she said, the world doesn't need more of us. There's 70 of you on here, and each one of you can totally be a diamond if that's what you want. So next is Sonia Dudley. And I'm sure everybody knows Sonia. I'm sure everyone's listened to her voice on YouTube. I remember just starting 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago, going to the gym, listening to this girl, Sonia. I was like, she just pumps me up. And I'm like in the gym listening to her. I'm like, who am I? And so anyway, Sonia is a country girl. She has been with network marketing for over 30 years, married to her sweetheart and her hubby, loves dogs, if y'all don't know that. And so she is just amazing. If you need to pick me up, she is your girl. So go ahead, take it away, Sonia.
Oh my gosh, Andrea, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this. I love things like this because I love the stories because we all have a story. And when you want to hear everyone's story, that's when you grow more. It's when you really care about other people's stories and relate to something they say. Oh my gosh, to follow Michelle and Brianne, I mean, I was just like, I took notes and I was just in awe. I couldn't even type because I was just like, wow, it was so good. And what's beautiful for me is to see that I knew you all when, especially Michelle, but I knew a lot of you when you joined, or when you were gold or silver. Alita, I remember you being like maybe gold, and it's like just like watching the growth and your confidence and all that is. They weren't born that way at all. They chose to take what Michelle said, and you know, I know Alita real well too. And it's like when you take the hard stuff and you take that deep down, I can't live this way anymore. I am sick of scarcity. I am sick of lack of. I am tired of struggling. I am changing it. When you have the fire in you so strong, no one can stop a moving train like that. No one can stop a soul on fire. And you got to decide. It's a decision. So beautiful, y'all. I wrote down, never stop believing in the dream you had as a young person. Like, I think back as a young person, I was the daydreamer. I was the kid that always thought, I'll start my timer, that always thought, I want to be a boss I want to own a mall one day. I remember telling my mom at like 7 years old, I want to own a mall. And then I want to be an astronaut and I want to be the president. I was all these lofty goals. And my mom would say, you can do it. You can do that. Well, you can do that if you study hard. And so I was fortunate enough to have that. But I'm going to tell you, if you're not fortunate enough to have that, because I had a lot of other hard in my life. That was good, but I had lots of other hard. My parents divorced. I witnessed a lot. I had a lot of hard, but I also knew what God gave me. And if you can go back to what you remember thinking about, dreaming about, saying you were going to have, be, and do, you can still do that. Here's what's happened. That was given to you by God, and anything else that steers you away from that is nothing but a distraction. And that distraction is fear, scarcity mindset, negative self-talk that defeats your belief. And it not only holds you back, but I think about, the 100 and something thousand people in my reports from 10 years in a business. They all aren't with me today, but that's a lot of lives that have been affected over 10 years just on my team. What if I had allowed myself all those years, went to college, 4 years in, senior in college, decided to quit to live my dream. I did Mary Kay. I quit college, won my car, and said, I'm never looking back. I came home from convention as a senior in college, needing 21 hours, and told my parents, I'm not going back. I'm going to be a director in Mary Kay and win my car in 2 months. I was 21 years old. 21. Y'all, that's stupid. That I look at that and go, that is the, I look at that and go, you gotta be kidding that I did that? I did that? See, that was not me. That looking back, I go, that was a God-given dream that I never let anyone steal from me. You've got to get emotional around your dream. If I can tell you one thing about your dreams, time block that out, Brianne. You time block out 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, 5 minutes in the middle of the day. Don't apologize for daydreaming. Don't apologize for sitting around, closing your eyes, playing a song that drives your soul. Turn on Alita's music, whatever, it just drives your soul to just go, I can do anything. And get emotional, wrap yourself around it, watch yourself on stage, picking up your diamond. Now, my story is, yes, I did Mary Kay all those years. I had to become so disciplined at an early age. It was my career. I married my husband. He had a good career. But we were struggling. We were brand new. We were young. But I had to learn how to do everything. I had to learn how to overcome objections. I had a time block. I had the goal set. We made gold posters way back then. Now y'all do it on your phones. We would cut out pictures of magazines and put on the wall. I would have them in my car, little mini posters. I had index cards everywhere. I learned how to do affirmations. I recorded them on a cassette Walkman, put it on my ears, slept all night with my affirmations going. We've come a long way, baby. But the basics have never changed. People have never changed. People are the same. Network marketing is the same. When people say to me, I wish I had done it back when, let me tell you something. I joined Mary Kay. They were 25 years old when I joined the company. 25 years in. They were in 12 countries and 25 years in. And I could have said, I missed the mark. Did I say I missed the mark? No, I didn't look at them. It doesn't matter what's on the outside. It was about my dream and what I believed I could do, right? And I went on to win 10 cars over 17 years in Mary Kay. Many, many prizes, never even came close to making even senior Ruby money in Plexus. I worked harder than I ever worked in anything in Mary Kay. Great company. I wouldn't be here today without them, but I worked hard. I cleaned trays, mirrors. I called the hostess, booked, loaded the car, drive an hour and a half. One person comes, sold the lipstick. I mean, y'all, I got stories, but those stories built my character. I would cry on the way home and I'd go, okay, Lord, I know you put me here. So what's the lesson in this? And what can I take from it? Y'all, you cannot quit when you're down. If you want to quit when you're up, quit when you're up. Don't you dare quit in the valley, because I wrote this down. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone, and comfort does not happen in your growth zone. And you are not going to quit in the valley. And if you do, we won't see you on the next Zoom in a year. We won't. Because let me tell you something. you're going to have valleys. I've had them in Plexus. I've had them in everything I've ever been in, everything all these years. You're going to have them. It's called life. If you worked for someone else, I always say treat Plexus like it's a job. It is a job. It's time freedom. But if you go to a job and you don't like what you have to do that day, do you quit or do you do it anyway? You do it anyway. And you may not like it, but you do it anyway because it's the only way you get paid. Well, if you decide that you're going to be your own boss and you got to live with yourself and you're clocking into yourself and you work with yourself, you better work through all the things because you chose it. You chose it. I chose it because I wanted a life as a young girl that I didn't have to tell anybody when I wanted to be off or go to the bathroom or vacation. I knew it from a young child. If you knew that, then you're in the right place. Don't ever think the grass is greener at another company. If you put yourself here and that's the easy way out. That's the easy way out. I gave up Mary Kay. I got really, really, really sick. I couldn't do it anymore. I got really, really sick with a bad autoimmune, got sick, tried to get better, cried myself to sleep almost every night. I was in the worst pain I've ever been in, took hot tubs baths every day, couldn't touch my skin. I thought I could not live this way anymore. When Plexus come along, I remember telling Helen, because she had been in Mary Kay with me, and I remember saying, I'm not doing one of those things again. And she said, I know we're not. But so I found this company. I've researched it. Someone I know, Sheila Medina, who was in Mary Kay with us. She said, Sheila, quit Mary Kay. She was actually making 6 figures in Mary Kay. I was not making close to that. She said she quit to do this full time. The products, from what I'm reading, are amazing. I think they can help you. But the comp plan is absolutely unlike anything we've ever seen. And I said, okay. I said, and I was very reluctant. And I said, if these products, it's exactly what Michelle said. I said, okay, if the products work, I said, I have to make this work because I miss my time freedom with Mary Kay. I hated working for someone else because I had to go to work after a couple of years of getting better. I wasn't well, but I was functional. Let me tell you something. Financial stress is as bad as your bad health. I was crying myself to sleep at that point over finances, right? So I had to go to work. And I remember saying to her, I don't want to do network marketing. I don't know if I can make the money that I want to make. And I don't want to bug my friends. And I don't want to do parties and don't want inventory and blah, 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 blah. But I want my time freedom back. And I want to pay this off. And I want to travel and all the things I remembered wanting to do that got buried under scarcity and fear and maybe no hope. I'd given up. I lost hope. Maybe these are my cards. All that came rolling back. And I started saying, what if, Lord, what if maybe this is it? And I remember saying to my husband, maybe this is it. And he's like, I don't know. Whatever you think, it doesn't cost that much to get started. If the products could help you, okay. So we did. Y'all, I came into this with my mind made up that it was going to work. Just like I'm on my second reset. This is day 2. My husband just brought my restore and we're on the same schedule. So he brought mine in. My first reset, it was fine. I did it and I was fine, but I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready. It hit us pretty quick. They were sending it. I was traveling. This one, my mind was made up. Your mind releases stress hormones. And if you're not ready for something and you have fear about something, you're not going to do as well. Subconsciously, I was ready. So started sharing Plexus. September the 4th, I joined Plexus, Labor Day weekend, joined. 10 weeks later, quit my job, went full-time, posted about that. I had not replaced my income at that point, but I was hit gold that month. And the next month, Michelle joined me the end of November. So she joined me 11 weeks in, 3 months in. And then in December, I was making, close to that $2,000, $2,500 mark, which was what I was making at my full-time job. January, $4,500, set $5,000. March hit Emerald, $12,000 first Emerald check. And then July diamond, and it was, 35, 40,000 check. Talk about a dream realized. We were a week before Plexus. When I say paycheck to paycheck, I would say, Michael, do I need to put the gas? It's Thursday. Do I need to put the gas in the credit card or the debit card? You're getting paid tonight. Is it going to the bank for sure? That's where I was. I had my wedding ring in my wallet zipper. I kept it in there even till I was diamond, just to remind me of where I was before Plexus. I had my wedding ring. I was going to pawn my wedding ring because we needed money so bad. I was considering baking. I love to cook and bake. I was considering baking fried pies and cookies on the weekends and selling those. If I could make 100 a weekend, it would be 400 a month, and we could breathe. That was my mind. That was where I was physically, mentally, emotionally. September of 2012 till I joined Plexus. Your mind can shift, guys. If you believe in your dream, you don't lose it. Because I didn't believe the week before Plexus. I had lost all hope. When I joined Plexus, I made a decision the day I joined to bring my dreams back to surface. I'm telling you that to give you hope that you don't have to wait for a feeling for that to come back. It's not a feeling. Can't wait on your feelings. You make a decision. It's my timer. You make a decision and your feelings follow that. You make a decision and your feelings follow that. I don't know how to turn my time off. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to stop, but I'm just telling you, all of you can do what we do. All of you can do it. None of you are different than any of us. I live in a town like Brienne with no red lights in my little town. None. One school, one high school, one bank over here. Doesn't matter where you live. It's the size of your dream. That's the bottom line. All right, I'm going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's my best friend. And literally there were times when I was going to the top of Plexus where I would call her and I would tell her like my woes and my problems. And this would be her response to me. Well, it sounds like it's your problem, like you're the problem. And so she spoke such hard truth, but she did it in love, and you knew that she believed in you. And I would get mad at her because she would just tell me that I need to, stop having a poor mindset basically, and to get to work. But she is literally phenomenal. And I'm so blessed by her. But I get to introduce Andrea Derrick because she is going to speak to us next. We have two more speakers, Andrea and Alita. Andrea is, I believe, Plexus's newest diamond. I don't know if there was any other diamonds that got recognized in June, but she was a diamond in June of this year. And I just want you guys to know, like, I know someone mentioned she's got beautiful graphics. She has a gorgeous family. She has a gorgeous new house. She has 3 gorgeous sons. They should definitely keep having babies because they make beautiful kids. But y'all, she's so much bigger than all that. Like, she is so much bigger than all that. She has depth like you would not believe. I was just looking back to her points when we came into, I remember January of 2020, we did a call together and she had went emerald and then she had fallen way back. I don't even know how far back she had fallen, but it was way far back. And we had this like come to Jesus type of call. And she's like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to the top just to fall. Like, I've got to create a culture of a long lasting team. And I think that's why it's so emotional. She was close to diamond before. She's been close to diamond, but she refused to push without the momentum and without developing the leaders that were going to be there and were going to last. And she has created a team full of culture, and her people know what to expect. She is like the epitome of somebody that's put her blinders on, that's invested in her own personal growth, that has done the work to create the systems and is unshakable. And I'm so proud of you, Andrea, and we cannot wait to hear your story. So congrats.
Jeez, I put myself behind Sonia and then that. I like don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, it's one plexus. I mean, you literally learn from your sideline sisters, from your upline, and that's why I love this community. It's unmatched because you get to, everyone is so open to sharing, to loving on you and supporting you. And I truly believe that just because you're not on someone's team doesn't mean that they're not going to just like link arms with you and lift you up and help you. And that is, I mean, I've taken, I feel like a little piece of every single person that's on this call tonight and have applied it to my business in some way. And so my story is going to be a little bit different because I came into Plexus as a 20-something-year-old, not married, no kids. I bartended for like ever. My mom's on here and she can testify. I was such a gypsy, like literally like just going like college, like kind of took a break from college, moved to South Carolina, like hung out, bartended. Like I did not, just like from like what Sonia said, from a little girl, I knew I'm like, I don't want to be bossed around. Like, I don't want someone to tell me when I can go eat lunch, when I can go travel. Like that was just, I've always had that like mindset. I'm just like, I want to do what I want to do on my own. And like, that's what I'm going to do. But I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Right. Like, because I didn't like school. I'm just going to tell y'all, I didn't love college. I literally would have rather like, I don't even know, been an elf than go to college. It's like something that I'm just like, you know what? Like there are other things that you can do, right? That you grow strength in. And so that whole thing happened. I met my husband and then we moved to South Carolina. And I remember my friend from college introduced me to Plexus. And of course I'm like, sure, I'll try the products, definitely need them, bloating, all of that good stuff. But I never in a million years thought like, I'm going to be a network marketer and I'm going to be a professional network marketer, like not in a million years. And I remember like getting my mom was like, okay, she's actually the one that was like, I'm going to sign up with, your friend if you don't do this. And I'm like, okay. Like I had literally $4,000 to my name. Did not save a dime while I was bartending because I literally just traveled and did what 25-year-olds do. And I just remember thinking like, I have student loans, like I have just all of this debt and I'm somehow want to live this like champagne lifestyle on a beer budget. Like, how am I going to make this work? Right. And I'm like, and I have student loans to top it off and I'm getting married in like 6 to 9 months. Okay. Like no one wants that. Right. So I'm like, all right, like mom's like, we're going to do this. So she starts sharing with her friends. And I just remember being like, okay, fine. It's like the last final moment to go fast start gold. And I'm like, okay, fine. I signed up my husband. I signed up my mom, like mom's already there and my best friend. And I just remember being like, okay, you're silver or you're fast start gold. I'm like, what the heck? $1,000 got deposited into my account. And I was just blown away. I was like, wait a second, like I have $4,000 to my name right now and $1,000 just got deposited for sharing that I am pooping better. Like what? Like that blows my mind. Okay. Like, I'm like, we can do this. And so after that, it's just, we caught the bug and we were just rolling. But my mindset, I never actually took time. And this is what I want to tell you, slow down, take time to actually visualize where you want to go and know that you are worthy of those things. I had to break a lot of bad habits during these last 7 years with my mindset. I was always a quitter. I always took the easy way out. If it seemed hard, I would just take a left and do the easy, right? I mean, I am shocking myself that I'm here 7 years later and hit the top of the company because that wasn't me. Right. I'm brand new and I don't even feel worthy enough to be on here with these diamonds. Like I'm still learning every single day. And I think that is the biggest thing is, you look at the jewels and the diamonds and you're like, are they in a secret club? Like, did they get here because there's like a password to like all these like, like things that like give them points? And it's truly not. The only thing that I feel like is we've been consistent and we've been through the hardships and we've been through the peaks and the valleys and we still decided to show up through those things. And that was something that I had to come to terms with, is failing is just learning. And if you fail and you're like, that's it, that's proof that I shouldn't be doing this. I want you to think about this. What did you learn? What did you learn from that goal you set? or, you know, that rank that you were supposed to hit. Maybe you came up a couple people short. You guys, if I stopped at every rank that I didn't make, with every goal that I didn't hit, I wouldn't be here. But what I did do is I soaked in those lessons that I learned from every failure, and then I applied it. I was able to help teammates. I was able to raise up emeralds and sapphires. Like, I was able to help them with their team. And you guys, it is always a lesson, never a failure, right? And you have to remember that. And so that kind of leads me, I'm going to cut short because my story really isn't as interesting as all of these other ladies, like in the midst of it, until I remember just saying, when I think, what was it, Michelle, 2019. And I was like, I'm going to go emerald. And I remember, like, I had hit senior ruby, and I was at my first convention. I hit senior ruby at my first
Is
convention.
it just me?
What is it?
Oh, you're cutting out unless it's just me.
Oh no, am I cutting out? Oh shoot.
I believe in your internet.
Uh-oh. No. Can you hear me now?
We got this.
Shoot.
Okay, wait. Now she's back.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can. Sorry.
I'm like right when I start.
I know. You're like, when was it, Michelle? 2019, and then you went silent. Okay.
I'm like, and then I just forgot the end. No, I'm just kidding. So, okay, I'll make this really quick. But basically, 2019, after I hit senior ruby at my first convention, which I was like, oh, I don't want to go. But you guys, if you have not been to convention, get to convention. My belief was built so much there. I remember just having all this scarcity in my mind, like, I don't belong here, like senior ruby, like, oh my gosh, like all of these like things that were just holding me back. And I took like a hot minute, and I was like, are you going to do this? Like, are you really going to do this? And are you going to put it all in? Okay. That was my first round of giving myself that pep talk. Right. And I remember pushing for emerald, and it felt super forced. And I pushed. I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but it just felt forced. It didn't feel organic. It felt forced. And I remember hitting emerald, super excited, but by the skin of my teeth, right? And I remember sliding back down and back down and back down and back down. And I'm like, great. How am I ever going to get back up to 1,500 points? January of 2020, I started at 630 points. Am I breaking up again? Oh, shoot, my internet. Am I breaking up?
And she turned into a robot.
And wait, what about now? Okay, have a lead.
Okay.
Have a lead.
Andrea, are you there?
Yes, but
Because Alita looks like one of those people. It's like that mindset that I struggled with. Alita looks like one of those people. It makes sense for her to be the top of the company. She's got beautiful blonde hair. She sings like an angel. She has beautiful kids. But y'all, like, I've seen her in valleys. Like, I've seen her in the midst of like hard times. And I'm just going to tell you what Andrea was about to share when she says that she fell all the way back and she had to climb out of the valley in these hard moments. And Alita went through these hard times. Y'all, these valleys and everything that Sonia said, don't quit in the valley. Y'all, the valley is your superpower. The valley defines you. It's like what makes you you. It gives you depth. It gives you meaning. It gives you literal power to change people's lives because you can speak to the pain. And that valley is what makes you be able to actually hit goals and reach levels of new heights. And Alita is the most beautiful person, and she's now married to Rodney, who I love, and they have this big, massive family. You can't even count. I don't even know how many kids they have now, like together. It's a lot. They have this beautiful little redhead bridge baby that we love. He just turned 1, and he just started saying hello, and we love him. And so, Alita, you get to finish up the call tonight, and I cannot wait to hear your story.
Okay, well, can you just come live with me at all times? Be in my pocket so I can just pull you up. I'm like in the valley and I need Michelle. Like, there is peace in the valley.
Amen.
Thank you so much for including me in this. Like, what in the world? I'm literally messaging one of my emeralds on my team, Lisa Young's, like, my heart is beating so fast. Like, Sonia Dudley, Rock the Pink, Michelle Thomas, and my bestie over there, Brianne Coolidge, who had the nerve to walk up to me and say, do you want to go for sushi? We didn't hardly even know each other. And literally just absolutely Andrea becoming a diamond. Like, it's just such an incredible, encouraging night. And I have loved listening to every single bit of this and watching your comments. Seriously, watching your comments and watching your faces be encouraged moves me. It really moves me. So I joined Plexus 7.5 years ago. I told Jennifer Leith no for 18 months. For 18 months, that woman messaged me. She messaged me once a month. She told me how great I would be. She basically like laid it on thick, was like, you be great at this. I see you trying to make money selling your cheese classes. Y'all, I taught cheese classes. If you don't know my story, you're gonna be like, what is she talking about? What does that even mean? We had a little bitty dairy farm and I taught cheese classes to bring in extra money, because the truth was, I thought I was really confident. I thought I was, fulfilled in my life. But what I found later is that I was looking for ways outside of just being a mom. I wanted something for myself. I wanted some kind of accomplishment. I wanted just a purpose outside of just being a mom to little kids in that season. And that was something that I could do to do that and also bring value into my home of bringing in extra income. So there I go. And my husband says to me, you were born to do this. Just do it. I come home to stickers all over my car, Plexus stickers. I was silver. I started to cry. I was like, oh my gosh, don't do this to me. Like, what is happening? I'm going to be like stoned at homeschool co-op or something. I'm so afraid. Absolutely terrified. But what I didn't know was what was coming for me. And 6 weeks, almost to the date before my husband suddenly and unexpectedly passed away, I was left with 4 young kids under the age of 6. I went to a Sonia Dudley in-person event where she trained on mindset. It was probably one of the first times I'd ever really heard it or had the ears to hear it, because we can hear all these things all the time, but to really receive it and hear it. And I found that glimmer of hope listening to her. And I remember leaving there just feeling like I can do this. Like, I can do this. And I walked away and I got my business going. I think I was senior gold at the time. And I just decided, it was kind of like what she was talking about. I drew my line in the sand. She did this amazing speech. And I swear there was like angels singing behind her. And I'm like, this is it, Sonia. You don't even know me, but like, I see you and I'm doing this. And I went home and I got to Ruby. And then my husband didn't come home one night. And I remember waking up. I will never forget waking up the next morning. It still makes me nervous to talk about it. And I remember just asking God, what's next for me? Like, this is the beginning of the rest of my life without him, with my kids without a dad, of all of these things of my life as I knew it was completely over. And we had no life insurance. And I remember just God speaking so sweetly to my heart and just telling me, you're going to have to learn to encourage yourself. You're going to have to encourage yourself. So I packed 4 kids into my car. I drove down to the Lowe's right around my house. And I went in there because I couldn't afford a dry erase board, because those things are like $1 million. I don't know why they're so expensive. They're crazy. And I got the biggest piece of tub tile and I nail gunned it with some kind of shooter thing. I staple gunned that thing. I used power tools I didn't even know existed. And I hung that sucker up and it was massive. And it was the first thing I saw every morning. And on that board, I wrote down every affirmation that I heard Sonia say. I wrote down every affirmation from scripture that I felt like really spoke to my heart of who my highest self was, not who I was in that moment, but who do I want to be? I want to walk this out with grace. I want to walk this out with humility. I want people, when they look, to say, how is this possible? I wanted to move mountains, and I was ready to see God do it. I was ready to see this team of people come alongside and be like, let's do this together. I was ready to really move into that place where I was willing to receive my dream as my reality. And I wasn't going to stop until that happened. And when Sonia said, nothing can stop a soul on fire, I literally could have got up and just started preaching it and throwing it down and singing, because I'm like, yes, you literally become unstoppable when your vision is bigger than just you. When you can see outside of that and say, all my fear was stripped away, y'all. I had no place for fear. I had zero room. My back was against a wall. I had little babies to feed. And I knew that this was my only opportunity where I could make this kind of money, where I could make this kind of impact and feel like I had purpose. And B, I'm allergic to 9-to-5 jobs, and my heart is a musician. So I cost money. I don't make money. I cost money. So I'm like, I'm in a real conundrum here. Like, how can I ever find anything like this? And I got real serious with myself, and I started being very diligent. Nope, not diligent in visualizing where I was going and what I wanted. And I remember just feeling so stripped of my fear. And my friend Megan Milokovic, she's a diamond. She calls it her 15 minutes of no fear. And it's like, you just get into the zone and you're like, there's no fear here. Fear is not allowed. I'm not allowing it to come in, because whiners aren't winners. And complainers aren't obtainers. And so two things that I absolutely committed to during that season of my life was, I will not complain. No matter how hard things get, I'm not going to complain, and I'm not going to whine, because I'm a winner and I'm an obtainer. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I shifted that into my mind, where I was just like, I am a warrior, even when I didn't feel like it, even when every odd was stacked against me. 6 months later, my mom, my best friend, my encourager, my supporter, passed away from pancreatic cancer. 6 months after my husband dies. I look up and I'm like, Lord, I'm not a complainer and I'm not a whiner. And maybe, just maybe, there is a purpose to this. So when they say to you, in the valley is where you learn your strengths. It is where your back is against the wall and you learn just what you are made of. Listen, I'm not the same girl that was teaching cheese classes 7 years ago. I am not that same woman. And if that girl met me now, she'd be like, oh my God, so intimidated, because I would make her shake in her boots with what she could do. Believing in her and seeing potential that I never could see in myself. But I had to be able to pull out of that and really start speaking to myself like you hear everybody here speaking to you right now. Because I'll tell you, it's not the hair extensions. It's not the lash extensions. It's not anything that any diamond, the beautiful, I remember being like, I'm too big. I got too big of hips. I can't. There's no secret sauce to this other than you believing that it's possible for you. But who else do you want this dream for? Who else are you wanting to impact? Does it impact your husband, your wife? Does it impact your kids? Who else does this impact? My choice to draw my line in my sand impacted not just me, but it impacted 4 little souls that watched me go through all of that. It impacted my new husband, who is literally, God bless him, the salt of the earth, the best human that was ever created, in my opinion. He also walked through a widow experience. His wife passed away, left with 3 kids, and we were able to blend with zero stress about money, with zero concern about whether we could put our kids in private school or whether they could all play sports. We have 8 children and we're not kid people. So someone's explain that to me. Someone explain that to me, will they? But we love our kids and we love spending time with them. And my husband can cherry pick the jobs he wants to. It is a gift that I don't ever take for granted. But listen, it can't just come from a place of prayer. It can't come just from a place of wishing. It has to come from here and shifting into that place of believing that this is possible, to where that fire starts to burn and you're like, oh, I could totally message that person. Oh, I could totally call that person and be like, we're doing this. Like, we're going all the way to the top. So when people say, Alita, how did you do that on days of hard grief, on days where you were just like, how can I do this? I would listen and I would consume some kind of positive something. Les Brown, John Maxwell, Sonia Dudley, Sarah Marble, Michelle Thomas, all the things. I would listen to something that would just evoke that spirit animal in me that was deep in there like a lioness. And I was just like, I'm here for it. And I would just do the things I needed to do. And when we don't have a blueprint for those hard days, we allow our feelings to drive the boat or drive the car or whatever analogy you want to use. We let those feelings override that. And had I let my feelings override that, I would not be here. I would be on food stamps. My kids would be, I would have settled in marriage. I would have just not been where I am. And so you have to think, what decision does this ripple effect make and how incredible that is? I put down here because I just wanted to say one more thing, that the valleys are your biggest adventures. Because for me, my husband dying, my mom dying, 6 months later, my dad passed away from early onset dementia, is that I learned in that space, it was like, one, I don't believe that I'm separated through death, right? I believe I'm going to see again. So that helps. But the other thing was I knew, I'm like, my perspective is either going to be my prison or it's going to be my freedom. And my perspective was live life so big that at the end of your life, people are like, she lived 20 lifetimes in this small chunk of life. That I would live so big that my kids would rise up and call me blessed. That I would live so big that my husband, my late husband, my mom, my dad could look down and be like, look what she did. She climbed that mountain. I'm telling you, whenever I was climbing Mount Everest and the storms would come and they would blow me down and I have to climb back up again and I'd have to change clothes and I'd have to change my mindset and I'd have to change my guide and I'd have to change my mentors and I have to dig and claw and climb and go. But I never gave up on what I was doing. And I always believed that no matter what, this was going to happen for me. And when I would stand on that stage, I would be the voice for the woman in the back who felt like she couldn't do it, who felt like every circumstance, the world was just raining down on her, that I would be that voice, that I could say, no matter what, yes, you can. And so tonight I ask you to just contemplate, who would I be the voice for? When I walk that stage, when I get up there, am I the voice for the widows? Am I the voice for the single moms? Am I the voice for the mom who wants to just be home with her kids? Am I the voice for making sure that husband, that spouse doesn't, stress is the number one killer? Who are you the voice for that makes change and impact beyond just you and your household and even your team? Because there is so much more to this life than just making money and just being a diamond. There's so much more. But God, it's like when you can have that platform and that money and those dreams, and they all go hand in hand, the only way I can describe it is supernatural. It is a supernatural feeling to watch these things happen. I went to convention, and this is the actual last thing I'm saying. I feel like a pastor right now. I'm like wrapping it up, but just joking. No, I'm not. Is that I went to convention 4 years ago, and Tara Castaneda was sharing with the Jewels. I was Emerald. And she said, write down how much you want to earn a month. So y'all write down how much you want to earn a month. Now I want you to double it. She said, double it. And I remember feeling like all up in my feels. And I'm like, well, there just ain't no way. That's just crazy. And she wrote down who are going to be your jewels on your team. 4 years ago, I'm writing this down. And I just didn't stop there. I was like, I also, if we're going to just do this, I'm like, I also want a husband, another baby. I'm like, I want some more things than just what I'm saying. And I wrote all these things down. And I walked away from that convention and I read that thing almost every day. I read it over and over and over and over again. And I will tell you something. I am living out every single bit of that, because what I learned is that double portion is also for us. Double portion is also for us. Come on. Double portion is also for you on here. And so when you're writing that down and you're thinking, oh, I wrote down 10,000 and now it's 20. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Or, oh no, I'm writing down 20,000. Now it's 40. And you start earning those things. And you start having the husband pop up and you're living in the new house that you wrote down. And the jewels on my team, one of them was my very best friend who had walked away. She's now back and an emerald on my team. 4 years later, she joined back and went emerald in 5 months. Visualization works. Creating the reality that you want to live. The only reason we stay where we are on that hamster wheel is because we don't dare to dream. We don't really believe that our circumstances can change. And so this widowed cheesemaker, crazy lady, milking cows, talking in weird Southern accents when I'm Canadian, can make it to diamond when her husband dies, her mom dies, her dad dies, her aunt dies, she moves to Canada, she comes back, she gets remarried, she has 8 kids. If I can do it, I've done this business every single way. Single mom, married, widowed, all the things. I get it. But you can choose, you can choose, you can choose to make the difference for the rest of your life, for the rest of your life, and for your babies and for your families. So who do you want to be the voice for? I appreciate so much you guys asking me to be on here. It was such an honor. I'm so humbled, and I cannot wait to see all the jewels that pop off this call, that walk up there and say, I heard something that night that impacted me and changed something in my mind. Just absolutely so special for me to be on here, and I just appreciate it so much. Andrea, I'm so proud of you for what you have accomplished. Nobody gets to diamond by luck. Nobody. You worked your booty off to get here, and you deserve every bit of victory and celebration that you allow. I love you guys so much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, oh my, yeah, your story is just chills. Everybody on here, just chills. I'm so sorry for my technical difficulties, but guys, thank you, Alita. Thank you, Sonia, Michelle, and Brian. You guys truly, what a treat, honestly. I mean, if you are not leaving this call full of inspiration and just ready to write down your goals, even if it is on whatever Alita said she wrote hers on, go grab that. They are expensive, but you just cannot have excuses, and you are so much more worthy than a simple excuse. And you guys, take something from this call and go apply it. Go apply it. Do not wait. I am just so honored again to be on here with you guys, and thank you so much. Have a great night, you guys.